Good morning. Hey there. So I wanted to talk this morning about respect as a path to healing, and specifically with long-term marriages. So if you don't know and you're watching this, maybe you're new to me, I was married for 19 years and then got divorced and have been remarried for about I think around 3 years now. And through that process, I've learned and I healed tremendously. But one thing that's really important to kind of breathe new life into a long-term marriage is respect. And one thing that about this specific frequency is that it has to be mutual. And it has to be valued by both people. And why is that important? Because you can't and you won't prioritize respect, and along with that will flow, it'll kind of create like a whole organic pathway to a lot of different really great ways of working together as a couple that's married. It'll bring in friendship. It'll bring in connection. It'll put you on the same kind of mutual plane or pathway or whatever level. It'll also bring grace and hopefully compassion. Compassion is like the highest part of the spectrum in terms of frequency. And if you start to, and if you're the one watching these videos, then that tells me that you're the healer in the group. You're in the couple. You're the one who does the manifesting and really understands that, sees the wounds that are there so that you can work on them together and bring them to the table, right? We have to, as a society, but as, people who are normally, we're parents, that's usually who I'm speaking with, we have to start valuing the smaller things that we think we've kind of pushed them aside and we think they're not important. They're actually everything. So what am I talking about? Mutual respect. Friendship is a big thing in marriages, liking the person. And so bringing that to the conversation with your partner is something that is just, I'm inviting you to do that. And talking about how can we respect each other more. The other thing I'm going to kind of introduce to you in terms of how the process of healing actually works, is it's always done from the inside out. So if you're not being respectful, and I'm putting myself in this category too, if you're not being respectful of other people, it's because there's some parts of you that you're not respecting yourself. And so part of the healing process is sitting and reconciling and noticing and creating awareness around the things that trigger you. So the triggers, even though they're uncomfortable, and I know it sounds like a really crazy, strange way, your ego is not going to love this because it requires the ego to die, have an egoic death is what they're called. When you're triggered, it's actually a wound within you that is ready to be healed. If you are brave enough and open enough to take a look at that, if there's some messages or words in here or something in here, or you'll know because you're listening to your intuition, if there's something in there that you're questioning or that you're wondering about or that's triggering to you, that's where the healing needs to begin. So what you do is you sit there and you start digging and you start asking yourself questions about that. How am I disrespecting myself? And then as I go back to, you're the one watching this video, I invite you to be the person in your relationship to bring this subject up, to start talking about how can we respect each other more? How can we respect ourselves more? And start the conversation, and just use that and start implementing a routine. And your person may not be on board with that. Hopefully they will catch up, and they'll see, oh, he or she's trying to really better our marriage. So I'm going to try this. This sounds like it's something that could help us. These are small little tweaks. They're small changes. This isn't big stuff, because when you have long-term marriages, as we all know, it's death by 1,000 cuts. It's not one thing. So just introducing the concept of how do we respect each other? How am I showing respect for myself, for my partner? And that will inevitably bring up, how do we communicate, right? How do we have patience when we are communicating and listening, and just kind of taking time to actually do the healing work, because that's what is demanded when you want to have a better marriage, when you want to see change happen in your life, a better version of you, all of those things. The work is what's demanded. And how do you do that? You do healing work. You, however form that is, it might be working with a professional like myself. It might be sitting every single morning, starting to journal, meditate, but really asking yourself, where am I at? And I always say, when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired is when you're ready for change. Okay, so I hope this helps. Sending you guys so much love. Bye-bye.